right, well, welcome back. My name is Mason Dupree. If you guys are returning, thank you guys so much for coming back. And if you guys are new to the channel, welcome. This is sort of a documentary sort of thing, a journal, I guess, where I'm actually recording what it's like, to be sort of an entrepreneur at a semi, I think experience level, trying to build sort of my next adventure, my new model. While also working full-time at another marketing agency. And the model I am working on, well, I'll get into that today, was supposed to be a service-based business, but I think I'm gonna move towards a product-based business, and I wanna tell you guys why. And so I had a conversation with a guy in the office today, and he does some really interesting work. And I think what he really gets right is leveraging the amount of time he spends per opportunity to get the highest return. And I know that sounds a little bit jargony, but when I was like really little, I think like 13, I was in like a bookstore with my grandmother, and I asked her to, to buy the book Money Master the Game with Tony Robbins. And that book she was like, you really want this book? And I was like, yeah. And I didn't get through much of it, to be honest. But in the first few pages, what he talks about is not trading your time for money. You need to find a way to break that relationship. The idea that you can make money while you sleep, or passive income and all that stuff. And obviously, if you've been around the internet, you know that there's some truth to those things and some not so true things about, passive income and all that. And honestly, if you're asking me, I think the most truest form of passive income would be dividend investing. And that comes with its pros and its cons, right? But what I want to talk about today is sort of that focus on leveraging that time to value sort of output, right? When I was having this conversation with him, I was talking to him about what I kind of planned to do, what I was going to offer to businesses and things like that, because I kind of want to go into the B2B marketing aspect of things, because I built a system that I think could really help them find their customer. And through talking with him, he said he used to have agencies, he's done agencies, and he's done that for years, he's done several of them. What seemed to be the issue is that there was no profit in it. And what he was really talking about, and what he kind of elaborated on, is that there was a ceiling. There was only so many clients he could take on before he wasn't able to take any more on, right? And then he got into this idea of productizing the thing. And he talked a bit about subscription, and I think that sort of fuddles the clarity of the conversation a bit, but because in a way a retainer is sort of a subscription, just a high value one, a high ticket one. But what I think I should possibly do, and I just don't know that it makes sense for a system that can produce that much value, but I'm deliberating between doing a low ticket subscription, more self-serve with a system, or providing the system as a product and letting it go. I think as a product, it would be hard for people to be interested in that product without other people knowing about it. And I feel like when someone finds a really good high ROI opportunity in a competitive landscape, they're not likely to share that with competitors, right? Whereas I think subscriptions are a little different in that people are like, hey, this is great. I like this, this service is what I use, right? So I don't know between those two options, those two different ways of productizing are the route that I want to take. But I do know that when I was running my old agency, I had a high focus on systems. And to give you an example of that, when I got a new client in the beginning, it would take me about 2 weeks, 3 weeks to launch a client. I was doing everything by hand. After having a couple of clients and realizing kind of the opportunity for some systems to be put in place, launching a new client account took me, took me like 3 weeks. I hate when that thumbs up pops up, but I'll leave it, whatever. It took me like 3 weeks. And then, after I figured things out, I got it all the way down to like an hour. And it was because I was working within a niche, and so the website doesn't change that much, right? So I was like, okay, well, I can use similar aspects from the previous website, just change the logos, the company information, the person's information, business phone number, all these things. And, I use a system called Go High Level, and I'm even considering building a whole new YouTube channel just for the Go High Level stuff. Because I love that system. I know a lot of agency owners use it, and I think it's an incredibly valuable system, but there's a lot of little niche things that, while trying to do complicated stuff, you just kind of figure out that I think a lot of people would benefit from knowing. And so if that's something you guys want to hear more about, please let me know. I'm going to definitely do a separate channel for that, just because I don't want to, fill this channel, which is sort of the higher level ideas, with technical stuff about how to build a workflow and dynamic variables and custom fields and all that stuff. But anyway, using all of that stuff, all those systems, I was able to get, back more value of my time, right? So like if I'm getting paid 10x, well, let's say I get paid $1,000 per hour, right? And I can reduce what I do in that hour to 15 minutes, then I can now do 4 of those in the time it would take me to usually do 1 and earn 4K, right? So there's 2 different ways of that equation. You can either increase the value in which you're proposed or pitching and get more that way, or you can reduce the amount of time it takes you to be involved, in which case you kind of get some of that money back, right? And in a way, if you balance that equation, you can make up for the lack of high revenue with volume, as long as you're able to actually get volume. And so I want to find that balance between being able to provide a product that requires less of my time, that then still has a high value impact. And balancing that equation is going to be a challenge. But I really think that going more of the product route and using the systems that I've learned to sort of make it easy for people to self-serve, get signed up and get after it, kind of using whatever I've got to help them generate business for their business, I feel like that makes the most sense. And I feel like that's the most scalable, and it takes the least amount of my time actively. It takes a lot of time up front. And so that's sort of the trade-off. But I think, if you've got a system and you're able to make it easy for other people to use, then obviously they would pay a lot to have it. I think if they knew the real value, they'd pay even upwards of $50,000 to have it, right? There's a ton of software out there for companies that pay, probably several $100,000s a year just to get access to that, right? So I'm moving to the software space, more of the product space, at least more of the system space, maybe a subscription. We'll see. I just think that, when it comes to if I truly productized it, then it would be a one-time purchase. It would be a lower purchase point, right? But it would generate a lot of sales, especially if it's highly valuable. Whereas with the subscription model, I could charge basically more over a lifetime value of a client, and I could up my subscription over time. So there's a lot of different things to check in there. That also means building out a UI, then the self-serve stuff, all the code on the back end to help it all work together. And if I haven't already mentioned it before in any recent video, AI can help you do a lot of these things now. So don't be sort of turned off by that. You can pretty much do anything now. So just get ChatGPT. It's $20 a month. And then just whenever you have a problem, interface with it, tell it what's going on, and it will help you 100%. You'll find the answers super easy. But yeah, that's sort of the route in which I'm at. This is truly just documenting, my thought process going into this next business. I really want to reduce the amount of time it takes, but I also want to, have a high impact for the client, really measurably be able to hit their bottom line, but do that in a systematic way that I can just hand off to them, or worst case, hand off to them and just sort of help from the back. But yeah, that's sort of where I'm at right now. If you guys have any questions, or anything like that, whether it be technical or high level ideas, whatever it is, please, drop them in the comment section. I answer every comment. And let me know if you guys want me to build a Go High Level, sort of a channel. I know a lot about Go High Level, and I love Go High Level. There's so many things you can do with that, and it's so good to have so many different apps under one roof with a lot of different variables involved, being passed back and forth. It makes it super easy to have really cohesive, sales funnels and all kinds of things. So if that's something you guys are interested in, let me know. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I will check you in the next one.